Alright, today we are going to talk about C++. It's just a basic introductory class. So I'm not going to teach you how to install like a IDE, but I would recommend you to try to get a Microsoft Visual Studio, since this is what I'm using, so it will be more familiar what I'm doing here, and you can just follow the steps. But you can still use some other IDE, but it's just your choice. So first of all, we just have to create a new project. Go to Visual C++ empty project. You can give them a name, but whatever you like, it doesn't matter. Let's click OK. And then what you want to do next is, on your left, under the Solution Explorer, there will be a folder name called Source Files. Right click, Add New Item. What should I pick? Right here is just the basic C++ file. It doesn't matter, just don't change the name, it just doesn't matter. Just click Add. So when you can see this page or this look, this is where it's supposed to be. First of all, in C++, there's like a programming language, just like a grammar thing. In English, there's like English grammar. In Chinese, there's Chinese grammar. In Indonesia, there's Indonesian grammar. In Japan, there's like Japanese grammar. But in programming, it does have its own grammar. To get started, we have to remember what is the most important line that we have to use during the program. Let me type it out for you guys. So first of all, these 7 lines are the most important line or code specifically for C++. So first of all, what is Iostream? Think about when you're working on cars. Let's say you need a ratchet and you need to get a ratchet in your toolbox. So this is kind of like a toolbox, especially for specific functions. Alright, I will let you know what function is in this library. In C++ or computer programming, this is what people call library. Library is just like a toolbox. Inside there's a lot of tools. You just have to name the tools and then put it in your functions, which is right around between these two curly braces. Inside these two curly braces is where you want to put your code. So I just explain the library. I will let you know what it does and what functions it has in this library later on. And for this line number 3, using Namespace Std, you can imagine that it is kind of like a shortcut for specific command that is coming from this Iostream. I will show you, I will demonstrate if we use this line and without this line, how the C++ looks like. So int is just like a type of what functions you are going to use. It can be something else, but just remember at this point you just need all this. So let's say for line number 7, system and then bracket colon and then pause. I will show you without this line what you will expect to see. Return 0 is just like a agreement of what you have right here. For example, in English grammar, if you use he, you have to use is or has. So in this case, you have int, you have to return something back to the function itself, which is here. Alright, so let's say we want to print something on the screen. We have to do cout hello world. Alright, now how to compile? What you need to do is just click Control Shift and B on your keyboard. Then you can see those code are running. When you see succeed, that's when you're all good. You have no error in your code. Alright, so next what we want to do is just to run the program. You can click Control F5. You can see that your program has been run, and you can see hello world. This is what I expected to see because I'm using a function called cout, and this function cout is coming from Iostream. Alright, so this is what you should expect to see when you type cout, and then this arrow pointing to the left, and hello world pointing to the left arrow, and end of line. End of line means next line. Alright, if you still don't quite get what does end of line mean, I will show you without this end of line. Every time you make a change, you have to do like Control Shift and B. You need to recompile so the source code file will be updated and into a machine code like 0 and 1. So you want to run it, just click Control F5 on your screen, on your keyboard. As you can see, without the end of line ENDL, you can see that the hello world is actually connected with the press any key to continue. Alright, as you can see right here. Alright, so I just add back the end of line, then you can see the press any key to continue will be in, we will move it to the next line. Alright, as you can see it works. So this is how you use end of line. Alright, there's another way to do end of line. What you can do is just go into these two quotation and type backslash n. It has the same effect like end of line. It has the same effect. As you can see, same effect. So you just learn how to use next line. Well, second of all, as I mentioned, I will let you know why we need system pause in the C++. Alright, let me comment that line out, which you guys might need to use a lot of time to show what is going on or to communicate with your professor or other programmer. Alright, since I just update my code, I have to recompile again. Control Shift B, succeed, and Control F5. As you can see, the black window just jump off in and out, and it disappeared very quickly. I will do it again multiple times. As you can see, the black window actually we call command palm. It is just disappearing. So why is that? Because of this line, you're telling the computer, hey, after you run this code, would you please stop and let me see the result? This is what it means. That's why it says pause. Alright, let's show you again. Control F5, stop. That is the reason why you need the system pause, to just get a hold of this black window. Alright, so next I would like to talk about using namespace std. What does it mean? Let me show you. For example, if I comment this sentence out, you will get an error. As you can see, one failed at the bottom right here, and you can see there's like red curly line on the cout, right? If you want to use this library and you want to use cout, but you didn't type this line using namespace std, what you have to do is you need to type a longer way to get this work. Alright, let me show you real quick. Just type std : and you're all good. Let's compile, and once succeed, Control F5. As you can see, alright, hello world as we expected, and press any key to continue. Alright, that is the main reason why you want to use using namespace std. Alright, this is just a simple program, but when you're working on a big project, you always have to use cout. Alright, but without that, using namespace, you have to type std : all the time. It will be very annoying. So by using this code, it just helps you to save some time and not wasting time, and easier to read. Alright, so I cover the user namespace, I cover like the system pause, return 0, and this is the functions, and this is the type of the functions. Actually, you can see that when you're defining a functions, you can see the type of something. That type usually is in different color. As you can see here, you can see here. Alright, you can see here, this is actually like an output that is printing on your screen. You can see it's different color. So when you're working on a program and you can see there's a different color, that's when you're working on something that C++ is predefined already. Alright, so next, what should we do? I will have to show you what is Iostream. Iostream, as I said, is just a library of like that has a lot of tools in a library. As you can see here, cin, cout, you see cerr and clog. There's a lot of different stuff. When you're not sure what you need to use and how to use it, this is how you search for a function or library. Alright, cool. So next, I'm going to talk about how you're going to get user input. Alright, obviously a program is not gonna like only keep on printing things on the screen, and sometime you will still have to use input from user, right? So let's say I want to ask someone like how old are you? Alright, so if I want to get a input from user, right, we need to say, hey, cin, like arrow to the right, and say what. You see, that's the problem. You want to save a value, and where you want to save it, that's why you need to create a variable. A variable is storing a input from user or from other program that create a string or create a value or create a number, whatever it is. So you have to create a variable in order to store a value from the program or from something else, somewhere else. So in order to save a number, you have to give it a name where to save, like an address. Let's say I'm going to save the value as age. Alright, I'm defining age with an integer type. Alright, int is stand for integer. There's also called double. Alright, there's also called float, short, long. There's a lot, but at this point, since it is an introductory class, you will be just using like integer and double at this point. Alright, so we have cout and how old are you. You're gonna cin. Cin means, hey, let's store the input from user to where. We just create a variable which call age, so we just say age. Alright, so this is what we have right now. So let's repeat what we have done. I'm just defining a variable integer type called age. I'm printing something on the screen and say, hey, how old are you? And the user will input an integer, and I'm asking the computer to say, hey, cin, please store the value to age. Alright, and then we have to print out to verify if the input has successfully stored into the age. So what should we do? We need to print something out on the screen, which we use the function called cout, an arrow, and we will say, hey, you your age is, let's say, right? So here is the problem. How can we display this variable on the screen without knowing what the user has input? All we have to do is we just type age. Since user has input the value, and we just store it to the age, so the age has the input of what user has input. So when we every time when we call or displaying age, we should get the value of what users has input. To display a variable, it has to surround by these two arrows that is pointing to the left in order to display it on the screen. As end line ENDL, as I just mentioned, it will jump off to the new line after this line is printed. Alright, let's do Control Shift B, compile, and Control F5. Let's see how it looks like. Alright, it says, hey, how old are you? Let's say I'm 20 years old, and hit enter. Alright, let's see, I just entered 20, and we are saying, hey, your age is 20. Alright, so let's repeat what we have done. What we have defined a variable with a type int, and we print out on the screen saying, hey, how old are you? And then after this line is printed, we say, hey, please move on to the next new line. And then after user input 20, as you can see here, 20, the 20 will be stored to the age by this command saying that, hey, C++, please store the value from the user to age. And next we're gonna see out printing something on the screen, and what is going to be printed on the screen is between these two quotation. Alright, and your age is the variable right here. Alright, in order to print out the variable, we have to use two arrows pointing to the left in order to display the variable without knowing what it actually is. Alright, and end of line, so the next line that is printed after these sentences is going to be in a new line. System pause, I just explained it like appears like 10 minutes ago. It's just gonna be like, hey, don't go, please don't go away, this black window. Alright, so I can see the result. That is what it is. Alright, so that's all for today, and I'm going to do more stuff like how to calculate an area or a volume or some basic math. This is what we're going to cover in the next video.